If you think the modern Olympics are impressive, then you haven't heard anything yet. The ancient Olympic Games, which were held in Olympia, Greece, in the sacred sanctuary of the god Zeus, lasted nearly 1,170 years, from 776 BCE to 393 CE. That's almost 10 times longer than the modern Olympics have been running. These games weren't just about athletics. They were a celebration of religion, culture, politics, and human achievement. And if you want to hear what made them so unique, stick around for this episode of Fake It Till You Make It. Hey, welcome to this channel where we bring you the craziest and weirdest facts from human history. Now let's dive into the ancient Olympics. Every 4 years, the Greeks would put down their spears and their shields and instead pick up their helmets and chariots for the greatest spectacle in the ancient world. No, not the Trojan War, better than that. To understand the Olympics, you have to understand the place that gave birth to it, Olympia. Located in the western Peloponnese, Olympia wasn't just picked because of its geography, although it helped that it was basically in the middle of Greece. It was chosen because of its religion. At the heart of the sanctuary was the massive temple of Zeus, which housed a colossal gold and ivory statue of the god himself, the greatest sculpture ever created according to the Greeks, crafted by the famous sculptor Phidias. So if you won your event, you got to stand in front of the greatest sculpture ever and be like, "Hey, that's me, Zeus." So athletes would come from all over Greece to Olympia to pay homage to Zeus with both sacrifices and competitions, honoring him with blood sacrifices and feasting. But the centerpiece was the games themselves. Victories were seen as offerings to the gods, not just personal achievements. And losing, well, you just had to try harder next time. But before the games could begin, an important announcement had to be made. The Olympic truce, called sha'carri, which was declared 3 months before the games started. It was a sacred duty of the citizens of Elis, the region where Olympia was located, to inform every Greek state that the games were starting and to remind them to respect the truce. During this sacred time, all conflicts across Greece were temporarily suspended. It didn't stop wars, but it did allow for a moment of cooperation amongst the fiercely independent city-states. Imagine Athens and Sparta, two of the most bitter rivals in Greek history, allowing their athletes to compete side by side under a banner of peace. This tradition gives us a window into the power of sport to transcend even the deepest political rifts. And speaking of competition, these games were highly exclusive. Only free-born Greek men could compete, and they had to train rigorously, often under the patronage of wealthy families or city-states. There were even special schools for training Olympic athletes. Women were not permitted to participate as athletes, nor were they even allowed to attend the games in most cases, though there were separate festivals for women, such as the Heraea Games, held in honor of the goddess Hera. Despite these restrictions, the games still managed to attract the best talent from across the Greek world, from Sicily to Asia Minor, showcasing an extraordinary level of athleticism. Now, these athletes weren't competing for medals or prize money. They competed for glory and to honor Zeus. If you want to win a race against 500 other guys, you don't need a purse. You already have the bragging rights. But if you want to learn more about the events of the ancient Olympics, keep watching. In the beginning, in 776 BCE, the only event was the stadion race, a sprint of about 600 feet, roughly 192 meters. The winner, Corybos of Elis, is considered the first Olympic champion in recorded history. But over the centuries, the Games expanded to include a wide variety of events. There were several running races. First, the stadion, a short sprint. Second, the dialos, a double stadion. Third, the dolichos, a long-distance race, sometimes up to 5,000 meters. And fourth, the hoplitodromos, a race in full armor testing both speed and endurance. Then there was wrestling, pale, a test of strength and technique, with the goal of throwing the opponent to the ground 3 times. Boxing, pygmachia, a brutal and dangerous affair with few rules and no weight classes. Athletes wrapped their hands in leather thongs for protection. And pankration, an ancient form of mixed martial arts, allowing almost every move except biting and eye gouging. The pentathlon was considered the ultimate test of athletic ability, consisting of 5 events: running, wrestling, discus, javelin, and long jump. And let's not forget chariot racing and horse racing, among the most prestigious and thrilling events held in the hippodrome. Victories were credited to the owner of the horses, often wealthy aristocrats or even royal families. These competitions were not just for entertainment, but expressions of Greek ideals like strength, discipline, and honor. Now, it wasn't easy to win. All athletes had to prove their worthiness through a series of tests, including a sacred oath called the Oath of the Athletes, swearing to compete fairly and according to the rules. Judges watched carefully for cheating, disqualifying any athlete caught breaking the rules. Cheating was rare, but when it happened, the culprit was cursed by the priests. To win, you had to be in top form, both physically and mentally. Athletes followed strict diets, trained for years, and even had their own temples where they prayed for good fortune. They were celebrities, revered by their fellow citizens, and immortalized in poetry, sculpture, and even coins. The Olympic ideal was not just about winning, but striving for excellence, pushing the limits of human potential and achieving greatness through hard work, discipline, and dedication. Victors were awarded a wreath of olive leaves cut from a sacred tree near the temple of Zeus. It was simple, yet priceless. But the true reward was eternal glory. Olympic champions had songs and poems written in their honor. Statues were erected in Olympia, and lavish welcomes upon returning home. Some athletes became so celebrated that their names outlived even kings and generals. For the Greeks, Olympic victories symbolized not just athletic superiority, but also divine favor. To win at Olympia was the ultimate achievement. The Olympics were more than just games. They were a cultural showcase. Poets recited verses, historians presented works, and political leaders used the gatherings to announce treaties or display power. The Games were a stage where Greece presented its finest art, literature, and philosophy alongside athletic competition. They also reinforced the Greek identity. Despite constant rivalries among city-states, the Olympics reminded everyone of their shared Hellenic culture and religious traditions. It was one of the few institutions that united the fragmented Greek world. So the question is, why did they last so long? Well, several reasons stand out. First, religious importance. As long as Zeus remained a central figure in Greek religion, the Games had sacred value. Second, cultural prestige. Winning at Olympia was the ultimate achievement, ensuring continued participation and sponsorship. Third, pan-Hellenic unity. The truce and shared celebration provided stability that transcended politics. Fourth, adaptability. The Games expanded and evolved, incorporating new events and participants as Greek culture changed. And fifth, Roman continuity. After Greece came under Roman control, the Olympics continued. Roman emperors and elites sometimes participated or sponsored events, blending Greek traditions with Roman grandeur. However, the ancient Olympics finally ended in 393 CE, when Roman Emperor Theodosius I, who was trying to suppress paganism, banned the Games as part of his campaign to eradicate pagan practices. And with that, the Olympic tradition that had endured for over a millennium came to an end. For centuries afterward, Olympia fell into ruins and the memory of the Games faded into legend. It was only in the modern era, particularly in the 19th century, that the Olympic spirit was revived, leading to the establishment of the modern Olympics in 1896. The ancient Olympic Games were a testament to the power of human achievement, a celebration of culture, and a symbol of peace. They were a product of their time, reflecting the values, beliefs, and aspirations of ancient Greece. Yet their impact echoed through the ages, inspiring the modern world to push the boundaries of athletic excellence and embrace the unifying power of sport. Today, when we watch athletes from around the globe compete in the Olympic Games, we are carrying on a tradition that began over 2,000 years ago. The Olympic spirit lives on, reminding us of the timeless pursuit of greatness and the enduring power of the human spirit. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed learning about the ancient Olympic Games. Remember to hit that like button for more videos like this. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring the past and discovering the wonders of human history.